Hey friends, Judy here from an Aussie and a Kiwi world on Thursday the 15th of December 2022, and it has just gone, it's about 5 to 9 p.m, and I just wanted to get in and try to record this now while I have the chance. I've got quite a busy sort of week coming up, and I'm flying out to Australia next Friday, so lots and lots of things to do. Haven't even started packing my bag. I've pretty much just been spending time planning stuff for next year for my cross stitch goals and things like that. Work's been really busy, and life just gets in the way. So weekends have been flat stick, catching up with people, trying to get in before Christmas and things like that. So today's going to be a little bit over the show. I do have a little bit of stitching to show you, which is not a huge amount. But I've got lots of haul, and I have done quite a bit of planning for next year. So yeah, grab a coffee, cup of tea, cold beverage, sit back, and hopefully you can relax or do some stitching while I have a chat to you today. So okay, where can I start? So maybe I can start with one of my questions on my last video, which feels like it was an eternity ago, was a vote to see about whether I would do the rabbits or the hares side by side or up and down. So these are the two that I'm talking about, and the other option that I was going to do was to try to do, oh sorry, step back here a little bit, is to actually try to do it either on top of each other or side by side. And the votes were, there were 13 votes for side by side, and there were 8 up and down. So I'm going to go with the majority, and I'm going to stitch them side by side and facing each other, just like this. So that'll be one of my goals for next year, to get that started. Yeah, so they're actually quite a nice cute little rabbit scene. So they are from Thread Geeks, if you're not aware of where they're from. If you haven't been on their website, they actually do have some really lovely charts, as do a lot of places, but I sort of got sucked in there the last time I was on there, and I purchased quite a few charts from there. So these were 2 of them. Okay. So I did actually have a giveaway a couple of videos ago, and there was 7 or 8 items that were won by quite a few people. So I have sent off all but one of them. So one of them was for some, I believe it was the violet hand-dyed floss, and the person that won was, this is Crafty Heather, I believe it was. And if you have actually sent me your details, I do really apologise, but I've tried all different avenues. One of the other winners had actually messaged me a couple of times, and I obviously didn't check that channel of where she'd messaged, but that they all have been posted now, so they may take a little while to get there with Christmas shopping, Christmas postage and things like that, the delays, and I did hear that there are some postage strikes in some places, but they're in the mail and they're on the way. So the only person I'm waiting for is to hear from, this is Crafty Heather, which is I believe is the name. I'll just actually quickly switch back. Yes, this is Crafty Heather. So Heather, if you have actually messaged me, my apologies. Please just drop me an email. The details will be down below, and I'll get that off to you ASAP. So sorry about the delay with that. Okay, so let's start with what I've been stitching on. As I mentioned, I haven't actually had much stitching, and that's because I've been spending so much time planning for next year. I've been putting my floss onto floss drops and taking it off bobbins where I can, and of course just making sure that I've sort of start next year on a good foot, where I've got quite a few projects already ready to go, and I can just stitch most of next year. So the first one that I wanted to show you was Cat and Mouse by Kathy Barrick, which is this pattern. It's such a cute design. I just love it. And it actually, looking at the pattern, I thought that it was actually going to be bigger than what it is. And I understand with depending on what size fabric you use and things like that, will make it bigger or smaller. But I've actually just done the face, a little bit of the body here with the bell around its neck, and I've now moved on to the tail. I've still got it in the Q-snap, sorry, because I have been working on it. And this is where I'm up to. So just put the head over there and then down to the body. So I've got the tail in. So I'm just going to do all the black outline on this one and then colour in the middle. So this is one of the projects that I actually plan on taking to Australia with me, because I just think it'll be nice and easy for me to stitch the black and then fill in the colour. So that's the first one. Please apologise with me moving around a little bit. I am standing, not sitting, doing my recording today, just so I can move around a little bit more freely. My shoulder's still giving me grief, and the cortisone shot that I had hasn't actually worked, so it's still I'm still in quite a bit of pain with it, so can't lift it and things like that. So the second project that I've been working on, and I will try to put the before shot just over here. So this is the Autumn Lane Easter Garden pattern. That's what it'll look like when it's finished. And that's what it looked like last time I actually showed it to you. And now I am up to here. So I have finished this side of the rabbit or the bunny. I just have some outline, a little bit of back stitch to do on some of there, and I've started working my way around here. So I filled in the little bit, the gaps here that were missing, and I started working on to this section. So I don't have too much to go, just this side, and I was hoping to have that finished before the end of the year, but with only a little bit of time to go, 16 days, and 7 of that being spent in Australia, I don't think that I'm going to have this finished. So that'll be taken into next year as a whip. Not that that will damper any plans that I've got, because I've got plenty of other whips to take as well. So, and the third project that I've been working on is in my Facebook group. I've decided that I just want to do some little challenges. So if you're not part of my Facebook group, or you haven't seen on Facebook, I have actually mentioned that I've pulled out of all my challenges, my game challenges. I am actually still in Whip Warriors, but I'm not 100% sure whether I do want to continue going through with that next year. So I'm thinking maybe I got a little bit burnt out this year by having a no new starts, going nearly 300 days without a new start, and now I just want to start everything. There is a new category in the Whip Warriors. I know that a lot of friends of mine have now joined in there, and I know that you'll have an amazing time and you'll have lots and lots of fun. You'll get thousands of stitches on your projects, and it'll be very much worthwhile come the end of next year. However, for myself, I restricted myself too much, I think, with the no new start. So there was a new category they've put in there called Sweewee, and it's stitch what you want when you want. That suits me to the ground, because I can just put a list of all my projects up and I can just work on it whenever I like. There's no restrictions on what I work on, if I work on it, how many stitches I need to do. But there is a rule that you actually do need to join in the challenges at least once a month. So, which I'm totally cool with. What I'm going to do is I will actually be hopefully prepared with photos and everything of what I've got to take through for 2023. I'll create an album for my own use. They don't need to actually see that. They just need to see your participation in the challenges. And I will actually just see how I go for the first few months. If I get past the first few months and keep going, then wonderful. if I don't, I'll just keep doing, plan on doing what I want to do myself. So as I mentioned in my Facebook group, I do want to actually just do a couple of little challenges. I don't want real major ones that are going to make people think that if they don't succeed with the challenge that they're not going to make it, or they're going to fail, or they're going to be booted out of the group. Or the actual Facebook group is for just some chatter, for me to be able to see what you're working on, and likewise for you to see what I'm working on and my progress. So if you want to join in on the challenges, feel free. If you don't want to, totally cool. Just sit back, stitch at your own pace, and just share what you're working on so that we can actually see that you are actually being able to stitch, or you are stitching and enjoying the hobby that we've got. So one of the challenges I had in there, now I've been on this little bit of a tangent, is what I do very good, is to actually stitch white stitches this month for December. It was from the 8th of December through to the 31st. No limit on how many you have to stitch. If you want to stitch one white stitch, you can. That's fine. Just show a before and after photo. Or if you want to stitch 5,000, totally cool as well. So I actually opted to try to reach 1,000 white stitches. And what I was actually going to work it on was this Santa Ho Ho Ho. So this was just a purchase from Etsy, and I will put the details down below. So this was actually not started when I first actually chose this project to work on. And for me to find where I wanted to start from the top. So I started on the Ho Ho Ho, the top one, and then just got myself across to where the white stitches are and started stitching the Santa Claus. So I'm so far, I think, 840 white stitches in. So I've just got a few more days on this, and I should be able to reach the 1,000, and then I'll put it down until next year when I pick it up at some time. So I wanted to try to get myself into the happy festive season sort of Christmas spirit, and stitching on a Christmas design is probably the best way to do that. So that's the third project that I've been working on. I don't believe I have actually picked up any other projects while I've been away, because I think I've been away, the last recording I done was about a month ago. I don't believe there's been any others. I may have stitched a few more stitches on my ombre design from Happy Mood Point, but I don't believe so. Until I go back and have a look at before and after photos, I'm not 100% sure. So, okay, so just a little bit of what I've actually been doing for my planning for 2023. I know there's lots of videos out there at the moment for Flossmas, and this video might just get sort of buried real quickly. So I don't really want to go into a huge amount of detail, because I don't want you to waste your time watching something that may not interest you in relation to planning and things like that, or my haul of what I've been overspending on. So I'm going to try to sort of just summarize what I've been doing, and if you've got any questions, please pop them down below, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. So next year, for this year, for my because I was in the No New Starts, which is now called Whip Warriors, I had an album that was within that group, and every time I updated photos, I would update a photo onto there, and that kept me very much in control of seeing the progress that I was having on there. I also use a app on my phone, Stitch Pal, I believe it's called. I think I mentioned it last time. And on there I had all my 50 projects, and I'd had a start photo, how many stitches were on them, how many each day that I would stitch on something, I would actually log it in there. And then that can give you like a little bit of a graph or details of how long it's going to take you to finish the project if you keep going with the stitches you do on that daily pace, or how, if you give it a date that you want to finish it by, it tells you how many stitches you need to do on a daily basis. Quite a good app. I actually really like it. So that was more how I was controlling what I was doing. I didn't really document it much anywhere else, as much as I would have liked to actually keep up with my diary. That didn't happen, and as you probably would remember on one of my old videos, I went and spent way too much money on a diary for next year, and it still hasn't got one bit of ink on the paper. So that was a little bit of a waste of money to actually buy that, because I haven't been fully committed. So I will try to be a little bit more committed next year, but instead of having the diary, I thought I'll try an electronic version. So what I've done is actually, and this is obviously the writing's a bit small for you to read, but what I've done is actually just put all of my projects that I had last year, or for this year, sorry, 50 projects, and I have the designer, how many stitches we're at for the end of the year, and whether it's actually been completed or it's going through for next year. So the colours are actually just telling you what what sizes they are, so small, medium, large, or a BAP, a big ass project. And that sort of, I've completed this so that I can keep track. I can copy this spreadsheet and just take it through to another worksheet and continue on from here. So as we know, I do have lots and lots of projects to go back into 2023. There's whips, there's lots of new starts, there's stuff that I haven't actually started, and there's lots that I hope to get in there which I may not, and I may have to move them across to 2024. But as I've been making up this list, which turned in from one page now to 2 pages, these are A3 sheets, and also onto the 3rd page, I sort of thought this was a good way for me to start cataloguing what I have in my stash. So each time that I come across, when I'm trying to find something, if I'm getting some floss to kit up the project, or trying to find a project that I was looking for, as I find them, I try to add them to the spreadsheet. Thought that was a really good idea. Well, now I'm up to 169 lines on these paper, and I think I'm just getting a little bit too ahead of myself. So it gave me a little bit of anxiety and told me to pull my head in and try to actually concentrate on the ones that I really, really want to do. So I'm going to call it quits at 169 on the list, to actually try to work on next year. And if any more get added on there, they will just be added just on the basis that they're just for inventory, not to actually stitch or to start next year. So because there's a couple of things wrong with having a designated craft room, and that is that once you come in here, you see all the pretties, you start going through it, everything's all fun, and then once you've actually found what you've come in here for, you leave the room with a big pile of things that you go, oh, I might start that, or I might actually kit that up ready for me to start next week, or oh, I haven't seen that for ages, I really want to do that. And yeah, so your list just gets bigger and bigger. So that's not going to happen. I'm going to probably burn myself out, and it's not even the 1st of January yet for the new year. So I have quite a few designs that I mentioned last time that are on for start-alongs or stitch-alongs, and I'm still going to continue to do that. I will commit to the stitch-alongs with everybody that I've committed to, and luckily they are just start-alongs. We all stitch at different paces, we all have a different lifestyle. Some of us work full-time, some of us don't, some work part-time, some have got young children, and some of us don't. So there's no pressure to actually do any of the goals that we have for next year. I know that Jenn from the Caffeinated Craft, she calls them fake plans, and I absolutely love that, because what you actually plan today may not be the same as what you want to plan tomorrow. Things do happen, and things do change. So I love the fact that she's actually introduced me to the fake plans, because that's what I sort of now look into. So even though having fake plans seems to be like a negative word, being fake, 2023 for me is actually going to be a really positive year. I'm going to go into there with positivity. I'm going to try to actually spend my time with people that want to spend time with me, and I want to make sure that my life is filled with happiness and with people that actually really want to make me be a better person, rather than actually me trying to make someone else be a better person. even though I'll still try to do that, I'm not going to emphasize my time on trying to please other people. It's all about me. So I'm going to be a little bit selfish, and I'm going to start spending more time on what makes me happy. So, and I'm sure that the people that want to spend time with me and be happy with me, they're very much welcome at any time. My door's always open, my phone line's always there. If you need to actually have a chat with me, if you're not feeling the best, you want to have a little bit of a chat, by all means, give me a call, knock on my door, and I'll always have an available coffee or cup of tea to sit down and have a chat with you. Or spend some time cross-stitching. So there's lots of things that we can do. But next year, I've told my work colleagues that I'm going to be a positive pixie. So I'm hoping that that's the outlook that I have, and that will go across quite smoothly. So with my planning also come obviously planning of how I'm going to get my album correct, how am I going to get my album ready. So last year, if I can, sorry, just excuse me one second. Last year for my group that was on Wit Warriors, I created these like little pictures. Each project had one that had the name, had the just the name of what I was working on. So last year I was Work Your Whips in the group, and what project number it was, and then obviously a picture of the project. So they're not very good pictures because they were pixelated when I enlarged them. So each project that I had a number, and then obviously the project. So as you can see, you get the gist of as the numbers went through. So what I found is I printed out, that's what was actually on my whitboard. For those that have seen the video for my whitboard, you'll have to excuse me, it's actually sideways at the moment. That's another story, why it's like that. So instead of actually doing this now, with spending all the time on wasting half the page on these pink arrows, I've decided that I would try to come up with a better way to create them. So first of all, I created a folder. Sorry, it's at my fingertips and I'm looking around. First of all, I created a folder, and inside the folder has got all these projects that they're all the cover sheets that are all laminated of my projects that are going to go through to the next year for me. And a lot of them are just a picture that I've taken a photo or an extra photocopy of the front page of the pattern and laminated it ready for the folder. So they will all be numbered, pardon me, based on what's on the spreadsheet. When I need to obviously come and do my Flosstube, I can go through here, pull out whatever projects that I've worked on, 7, 8, 9, 50, 700 and whatever, and show you the picture from here. And then there'll always be a shot of what it's going to look like when I'm finished. Because what I found is, as I've been doing my Flosstube, if I have the project, I sometimes don't have a printed out copy of the pattern because it might be on Pattern Keeper. So I wanted to make sure it was easy and for people to see more of the project of what it's going to look like without me having to import pictures. I would really like to do it where it was edit free. Just to be able to give you my true, honest, transparent person without having to cut things out, pop pictures in, whatever. So as I've been working on my planning, I've been making different sheets, and what I've done is I've got a standard name across the top of what the pattern's called. I've decided to actually just do a little copy of what the designer's name is, so just here, and then put a copy of what the picture is going to be. So that was just an example, and then obviously with other ones, just flick through here. So Madame Chantilly, same thing, put the name at the top, the designer's name or off their website here, and then just a picture of the project. Caterpillar cross stitch, the same. So this to me, actually, I didn't start doing this until like sort of one day last week, and having 100 and something projects, I've still got a little bit to go. I do have probably about 80 or maybe 85 done so far, and I'm going to spend Saturday morning or Saturday at home here laminating them, so, and then putting them into a folder. So I've got a few different folders because they won't all fit in one. But so the planning part, as much as it takes me away from the stitching, it actually makes me really happy to try to be a little bit more organised with having my patterns and knowing what I've got, because at the moment I've got tubs all around me, and there's a tub from the ones I've been working on this year, so I know the 50 that are in there, minus the ones that I finished. And then I've got 2 more tubs that have got all the new projects that I'm going to be able to do for next year. So one of the dramas with, or another drama with having your own craft room that's untidy, like it's not by all means all very lovely and flash like a craft shop. The house is actually in the middle of renovations. I don't actually have jib on the wall over there. So the whole place needs to be redone. We're going to re-jib, whatever. We're not here for a renovation show. We're here for cross stitch. But the one downfall of here is that white cabinet that you can actually see over there. It's got all our electronics in for our TV, which is on the other side of that wall. And my husband, the wires that you can probably see over the far side there hanging down from the ceiling, my husband's very much a gadget electronic man, and everything is all done by sensor. So we use the remote and it changes channels, it does all that sort of stuff, puts the music on or whatever. But all the devices for that, the Skybox, the DVD player, all that sort of stuff, is actually in that white in that white cabinet. Well, because I sort of thought I was going to be really clever and try to clean up my craft room, I started putting heaps of stuff in that far corner in front of the door while I was cleaning up. Well, don't ever let your husband come into your craft room to actually do anything in his cabinet, because everything that was neatly in piles for me to know what I was doing for next year is now all over the place in different piles. So it took me quite some time just to even gather through a couple of things that I wanted to show today, because they were in different piles from where I left them. So I think I need to actually segment that off so that he can just have, I don't know, maybe he can work out a way of doing it remotely without having to come into my room. But all jokes aside, I really need to get my stuff sorted for next year, and doing this planning and stuff like that for 2023 is certainly going to help me do that. So okay, so a few of the things, if I can show you a couple of the things. I got some happy mail this week from my friend down in Wellington, which is Nicole from the North Island Stitcher, and second guessing her name now, but I will put it down below. Her link will be down below. So, and most of you I'm sure already watch her, so that's all fine. So a couple of things that she gifted me, and it was all sent up in a Flosstube, in a project bag. So I went to the local what we call Needles and Pins here, my local needlework shop. And it has quite a lot of fabric. It's more quilting than anything else. And Nicole loves peacocks. So I found this fabric, which is absolutely amazing. It's very bright, in your face. So what did I do? I purchased a whole metre of this and got the lady to cut it in half. I bought some nice mustardy yellow colour fabric for the inside, and the cheeky Judy went straight to the post shop, popped it into a mail bag down to Nicole, and then I rang her and said, so I've just sent you some really nice fabric, and I sent enough to make 2 project bags. So the trick is that, can you please make me a project bag out of one lot of the fabric, and the other part of the fabric is for you to make one for yourself. So behind her laughter, I'm sure there was like, you cheeky bugger, or probably worse names that she might have wanted to call me, but she didn't. And God love her, she just went, yep, no problem at all. So she made it, which was actually really cool. So in the meantime, while she made that bag, she then told me that she's got some other peacock fabric. So she then made me this one, which is absolutely gorgeous. The blues in it are just amazing. The inside fabric is a nice blue, like a, it's like bubbles. It's got blue and green in there. So she made that as well. So that's 2 Peacock Project bags I've got. And inside those bags, she then gifted me some projects. So these are the cottage garden one, which is Faith. I got a Praiseworthy Stitches, which is called Simple Gifts Christmas. Oops. These are ones that Nicole's already finished, and so she's passed on the stash to me, which was really lovely. A Glendon Place part of the Amazing Desserts collection in the purples. This is amazing. Nicole has done this, and she has shown this design in one of her videos, so if you haven't seen it yet, maybe pop back and have another look. And she also gifted me this quick and easy stitching book, because it has a lovely Alice in Wonderland project at the top here. So that is awesome. So thank you very much, Nicole. I really do appreciate that, your generosity. So apart from being gifted that, I've actually been spending way too much money on gifts for myself. Christmas time. Oh, that'll be nice for a Christmas present for myself. And yeah, so I went a little bit overboard. The first thing was a Dimensions kit. This is what Zeb and Grant are actually stitching to friends from New Zealand, here out of the New Zealand cross stitch group. They are actually stitching this as a stitch along, and they've already started. I possibly won't start till sometime next year, but I just really liked the way that the design was coming along, so thought I would join in that whole FOMO thing. And Heartstring Samplery brought out they've been bringing out designs based on music, like names of songs and things like that. So me being I love frogs, anything frogs, they brought out a pattern called Who Let the Frogs Out. So that is this pattern. Now it's a little bit hard to see the pattern, but now it's a little bit closer. So it's got quite a few cute little frogs here, some leaves and things, and then right in the middle it says Who Let the Frogs Out. Now I'm guessing my obsession for frogs has actually gone way around the world with my Flosstube, because I would have had probably, and this is no exaggeration, 30 people message me to say, check out this pattern, I'm sure you'll love it. So the first sort of 5 or 10 that actually messaged me about it, I was like, oh, that's amazing, I'll go and check it out, blah blah blah. And then the last 15, I was able to say, yep, I just bought it. So it was quite a no peer pressure to purchase it. I would have purchased it anyway, but amazing to see how many people take note of some of the obsessions or some of the likes that we have, frogs being mine. So that's one that I've snuck in for next year's projects. One of the other things that I do want to do, and there's no rush for this, but is to try to make Christmas stockings. I've seen some people recently posting that they've just finished all their grandkids' Christmas stockings, and I think that would be really cool to have as a nice memento, so that in years to come, even if it's not used, they could still have it at Christmas time, and they can actually, my daughter or son or son-in-laws can actually put something in it for my grandchild, even once I've passed, just as a memorable thing for me. Excuse me. So I bought a couple of stockings. These were just off Etsy, and that's another one that I purchased, which which I have seen this one stitched up and it's absolutely amazing. So there was about half a dozen different kinds of stockings that I purchased. I won't actually bore you with all the others, but one of the things that I do have on a monthly basis, one of my subscriptions, is with Paine Free Crafts. Sarah Paine has to be one of the most amazing store owners or designer, like crafting gurus maybe. Always very friendly. Like whenever I message her with some stupid questions at all hours of the day and night, always very pleasant, coming back. Nothing's ever a problem. So £10 every month goes towards a gift card, and which is about 20, I think it works out to be about $22, $23 here in New Zealand. And at the end of the 6 months, once the 6 months one's done, you then get a voucher for I think it's £85 or £80, to actually be able to purchase one of their kits. So there is a very strict rule that when you do spend your voucher for the Crystal Club, it is actually spent on a kit. It's not for just buying PDF patterns. It is actually to buy one of the kits from Paine Free Crafts, or Sarah does other ones for like Charting Creations and Thread Geeks and things like that, so you can purchase their kits as well. But it is actually to do that, so that's the whole idea of the club. So what I've actually purchased with mine is this Stanley Morrison dragon, which is the corn dragon. I think this is just adorable, like a corn cob. So this is just printed out from the PDF version that I received. I paid for the PDF and the printed copy, so I like to have the printed copy as a bit of a memento thing. I won't actually use it, but it's nice to have. And my kit's actually on its way, so hopefully that will be arriving anytime in the next few weeks, possibly while I'm away, but it'll be there for when I get back. So this is absolutely lovely. I just love the colours that go with it. So along with that one, I did spend a little bit extra above my voucher, and I purchased the Dragon Fruit by Stanley Morrison as well. So it's actually quite cool how they've got the dragon fruit on his back, and the colours again just amazing. So another couple of purchases. If anybody's been on the Etsy site Vivster, Vivsters, I think it is actually. Gosh, tongue-tied. Vivsters. They have some really cool PDFs, and they've just had quite a big discount. Whether I'm not too sure whether it's still going, but I'll put the link down below, and you can go and check it out. So just quickly, a couple of the ones that I purchased from them. I've seen this many people actually stitch it, and I just think it's lovely. Twisted Rainbow Sampler. So there's a cross stitch version, and there's also one that's got specialty stitches. I've just got the one that's got cross stitch. Specialty stitches is something that I do want to learn, but I will do that sort of just as a tiny little a little piece rather than a big piece. The next one, which comes in summer, winter, autumn, spring, and also Christmas as well. Forest trees. So this actually comes in all different colours. So you've got different versions of the colours. That's a Christmas one. And autumn and winter. So same design but different colours. And then there's also the rainbow quilt. Beautiful colours again. And Quaker tiles. Another rainbow colour. And Moroccan lanterns, which is lovely. I think that will be amazing. So that's just a purchase that I had. You know, when you have those days where nothing seems to go right, like you want to actually start the day being very positive, like I said before, trying to be a positive pixie, and just nothing seems to work your way. So I had one of those days last week, which is why I purchased those charts. Nothing was going right at work. Customers were cranky. and I sort of took that on board, and it certainly changed my morale. So going on and obviously buying cross-stitch stuff is something that's more exciting for me, so that actually lifted my morale. So I'm sure that we all can actually relate very much on cross-stitch makes us happy, and different things make us more happy than others. Some people like fabric more than others, some people like charts, whatever it is. I just love anything cross-stitch, so that's my go-to place to actually purchase things. And when I'm like that, I like to purchase things that I'm going to get straight away. So, and Etsy is perfect for that. One of the things that I did see on Facebook last week was a Soda Stitch has got a freebie, another freebie out, which is called the Santa Express. This is actually quite cute. So if you pop over to their Facebook group, they will have that in the files, and you can download that. There are a few other free ones in there as well. This one took my fancy, so I decided to do that. So my very last purchase that I've just purchased, I just picked this up today, was when I go to hopefully lots of retreats or get-togethers and things like that, I never have a light that's going to be good enough. And when you go and stay at these venues, or you're in a hotel somewhere staying overnight, the lighting is never good enough for my stitching. So without me having to pack my own lighting, like my big light, I went and purchased a portable one, which is just this big. So, and this obviously comes out like that, and then you switch your light on to 3 different lights. So the good thing about this was that it was actually on special. It was $75 from Lincraft, and it was down to $40. So it actually charges by a USB cord, which is really cool. So who doesn't have a USB cord? And the other thing is, when I go to Australia, I'm actually going to be looking after my grandson for 10 days of the holiday. And even though he's nearly 6, this can actually be like a night light. So you can leave it closed and you can leave that light on. And it's a nice little light in the room for if he wakes up to go to the bathroom or anything like that. So that was my today's purchase. And that was only $40, which is actually quite cool, $40 New Zealand. And I'll be able to pack that when I go away to retreats or to Stitchy get-togethers, and just have it on the table so that I can always have good lighting for my stitching. So, okay, I think I might wrap that up. It's been 42 minutes. It's probably the quickest video that I've actually done. Apologies for me moving around and stuff. That's probably been a little bit annoying for some of you, but I can never ever stand still when I'm on my feet. It's like when you have a baby and you actually start rocking a baby. So, okay, I'm going to actually let you go and watch all your Flossmas videos. If there's any out there that you actually like to recommend, then maybe pop them down below, and other people may be able to jump on and have a look and see what they're like. I love following Crafty Emily. She has really quick videos and sort of shows things that she's been doing for her Flossmas. She's up to day 12 or 13, I think now, possibly even 14, now that we're on the 15th. And another one that I actually really love watching her normal videos as well as her Flossmas ones is Laura from Stitching by the Shore. So every time I watch her video, we could seriously be like twins with our likes of patterns and things like that. Laura shows some of her patterns and I've got that one. Oh yes, I've got that one too. I've started that one. I really like that one. I should go and purchase it. So it's like she's my advertising for projects that I actually really like. So thanks, Laura, for your enabling of not even just spending money, but to pull patterns out of my stash that I've had for quite some time that I really do want to work on. So I really do love watching your channel and seeing your cookies and that you made today, that I watched today. Being a vegan would be quite a hard thing to actually get past, but you seem to master that, and the cookies look delicious, to the point where I've actually very much saved that video so I can give them a try myself when I get back from Australia. So yes, so Laura is another one, and I'll put their details down below. So there's plenty more of videos that are out there, not just for Flossmas, but to actually watch people for on a general basis on whenever they actually show their videos. So I'm sure I could go through quite a few. I have quite a few hundred on my list. Not that I get to watch them all, but some of them are very much reminded, and I ring the bell and make sure I watch them as soon as they come out. So and I hope that that would be what you would like to do with my channel as well. So I know this is at the end of the video, and it probably should have been at the beginning, but thank you very much for actually watching my channel. If you've made it this far, then you deserve a congratulations and a pat on the back. So I appreciate you coming back and watching each time I put up a video, and my next video will actually possibly be filmed when I'm in Australia. I'll be staying at my brother's house, and I will take my things over there so that I can record from there. So I hope to record in a couple of weeks. If I don't get a recording done, then I will definitely record obviously when I get back, which will be in a month from now. But I will try to actually do a recording between now and then, just to stay in touch with everybody and wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, give you a little bit of an insight of what's been happening and what I'm going to be stitching on. So I will only take a couple of projects with me. Hopefully they will get quite a bit of work on them. One of them is Magic Roses, which is a Heaven and Earth design. I'm starting that one tonight. And that's a stitch along that I'm doing with a girlfriend called Michelle. So I need to put my first stitches in that one tonight. And I will also take across my Adele to Australia so that I can, if I need to just do block stitches, I can just do lots of black stitches, outline, and then fill it in. So, okay, I'm just rambling now. Have a very, very Merry Christmas if I don't get to see you or speak to you beforehand. Please stay safe and give those around you as much love and attention as you can over the next little while. Some people struggle to get through Christmas because it's maybe a sad time for them, and some people don't actually like Christmas because it might not be something that they enjoy. Getting through a time where it's supposed to be nice and festive and fun and everything like that is sometimes the hardest for some people. So please be kind to everybody, share the love, and try to actually make sure that if someone's walking past you, walking towards you, smile at them. You'll be very surprised on how many actually will smile back. So have a lovely Christmas, Happy New Year. If I don't speak to you before, I'll see you next year with lots and lots of plans for 2023. So take care and happy stitching.